Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm your host, Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing agents who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all my South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined in studio live by the one and only Sharon McNamara. She has left the room, but she will be back. And we have Tim in studio. Hey, Tim.
Hey, good morning, Melissa.
Yeah, I know I have already asked you this, but keeping warm today?
Yeah.
Oh,
man, both days, today and tomorrow. A little warmer tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be, tomorrow's
29 for a high tomorrow. Very exciting.
What is it right now?
It's, my thermometer says 16.
No.
And that's without the wind blowing. So factor that in, and that's a dream.
Yeah, it's been such a weird winter so far. And I feel like I say that every year.
You're right. Well, it's an El Nino winter, so that's why we're getting all this up and down.
And, really?
I heard a weatherman the other day say that usually El Nino winters are backloaded with the snow and everything. So we've got some a little bit, but give it time. We're going to really get bam, bam, bam.
Oh, no.
Well, hey, it's New England. This is,
I know.
This is what we get.
I know.
We're veterans. We got this.
I know. Like I said, I always say, it's such a weird winter. I don't even know what a normal winter in New England is. Just all over the place.
Sometimes you might have to ask Rob Gilman, and he'll tell you what a real winter was. He'll probably give you an exact date.
Probably.
This weekend in January of such and such year, we had, he'll narrow it right down.
Well, we used to have snow in December. It seems like we don't get snow in December anymore.
I know.
Right?
I know.
It's just cold. And then you have to think, like, if we're going to deal with the cold and not have snow, do we really want to live in New England? Yeah, I don't know. I have to do an open house today in a new construction property. If anyone wants to join me in that. And it's always colder inside new construction than it is outside. So feel free to visit me. I'll be down at my new listing. It's not really new. We've been there since September. But Cushing Trails, you can get there if you put in your GPS 486 Spring Street in Hanson. I will be there this morning from 10 to 12.
Will you be serving hot chocolate or anything like that?
I should, actually. I was going to buy some hand warmers yesterday, but...
You should do like a hot chocolate bar there.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I don't have anything to keep the hot chocolate hot.
Now, this new construction, is the electricity already installed?
No, there's nothing. Okay. There's nothing yet.
I was going to say, if it was, bring a space heater and put it in one of the rooms. Maybe,
there's nothing. They're just studs. But
all right.
Here's the
bundle
good
up,
news.
bring your ski gear, and join Sharon.
Yeah.
I said that to Mark the other day. I was like, I think I had to buy some ski pants.
Yeah.
But we did get a reservation yesterday, so congratulations to the nice couple who put a reservation in yesterday. So come and see me. I'll be there, and Mary will be there tomorrow. And, of course, she's at Cochise Estates today, and Kristen Howlett will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, which will be great. Yeah, I'm excited about tomorrow. You know why? I was thinking about this morning. I was like, why am I so tired? I got home from Aruba 15 days ago and haven't taken a day off yet. That's why. And you're young. You can do it. Don't give me that look. Like, yeah, I know, Sharon. I'm working every day, too. I'm old.
I wasn't even looking at you. I'm not wearing any makeup, so I just look so much more depressed. No makeup. But yeah, so I think you deserve it. You get a day off tomorrow. That's lovely. Good for you. I love that for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But right now we don't have off. We are going to be educating some of our listeners. We are going to be talking about buying and selling condos. So the considerations that both buyers and sellers have when considering condos.
Yeah. Can I go backwards for a second?
Sure.
I want to make this all about me. Let's do that. Tim, you good with that?
Hey, it's your show. It's your hour. So, hey, as long as you don't say any 4-letter words, we're good.
Okay, I won't. Mark and I don't know, before Christmas anyways, we were watching something. I think we were watching Chronicle or something, and there was something about glass blowing that was on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, right? And I was like, I would love to try that. But then I thought, what are the chances that they really allow people to play with, like, cut glass like that? Well, for Christmas, Mark got me, we're going today, so we're going after my open house. We're going down to Providence, and we're going to do some glass blowing.
Yeah.
It may be my thing.
Well, you haven't tried it yet.
I know, but it might be. Like, I'm looking forward to it. You know what I mean? I could have a creative little energy spark, and then I could do, like, the circuit, and I can, like, sell things at, like, farmers markets.
Wow,
and
you already
stuff.
have the lingo. Like, I could do the circuit. Yeah. We already have a circus.
What would I name? This is how my entrepreneurial ADD mind works, by the way. It's like, all right, so now when I own a glass blowing company with all my own hand-blown glass, what will I name my glass company?
I don't know.
Pain in the Glass?
Pain in the Glass.
I like that.
Connecting fire to glass.
Yeah.
And speaking of glass blowing, if you want to brush up on your skills, on Netflix, there is a glass blowing show called Blown Away. And it was a competition program, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, they make all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. Check it out. It was on for 3 seasons.
They missed the mark with Pain in the Glass.
Well, maybe trying to make it a little more family friendly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch that, actually. I'm really excited about it. So that's what I'm doing today. But back to what we're talking about. Again, you're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara, along with my sidekick here, Melissa Wallace. She is our everything here at Boston Connect Real Estate. If you have any questions during our show, feel free to call us. Tim is in the studio in Marshfield, 781-837-4900. Feel free to go that way. You could also find us on Facebook, so you can get us questions. Melissa is monitoring all those questions. We had a lot of people watching last week. So if you have any questions and you're a little shy to call in, feel free to just catch us on the flip-flop. Was that like a CB term?
Catch us on the flip-flop? No.
Yeah, like a CB. Like when people used to have CB. You don't even know what a
What's
CB
a
is.
CB?
Yeah.
Citizens Band Radio. Breaker.
Yeah, breaker, right?
What's your 20? Come back.
Yeah, my handle was Candy Girl. My parents had one.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
yeah.
Why?
Did you like the song or no?
Yeah, I did like that song.
Yeah,
that's why I think it was that. It was
like a screen?
No, it's like a CB, like a, you know what I mean, like a walkie-talkie.
Oh.
And people used to have them
a very
in their cars.
long-distance walkie-talkie. This was the way to communicate before we had our fancy cell phones and the bag phones. Excuse me, I'll rewind a little bit. In the bag phones,
I thought Mark was the 4-letter word when I said that.
My mom's going off about this now.
Now, Melissa, do you know what a bag phone is?
Is it a phone in a bag?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's like
you would carry it around.
You carry it around, but usually you leave it in your car, and you'd always have it plugged into the cigarette lighter. And it was our first cell phones we had, and you couldn't take them. Put them in your pocket. That didn't work that way. But
that made me laugh. And I thought Mark was like the hottest thing. And I was like, my new boyfriend, he has a bag phone.
Yeah. Hey, you got to start somewhere,
And he had a beeper.
Yeah, I was going to say the beeper too. Yep. That's how you did it.
So someone would page him, then he could call. Anyways, we are so off track. But thank you for bringing me down memory lane, Tim.
Oh, you're welcome.
You should be my sidekick too. You are my sidekick.
Yes.
So we are talking about condos condos today, which is very fitting because my new development, I have 40, they're actually townhouses, but we'll be talking about condo docs and things like that. I also do have some of my friends who have joined me on Clubhouse, which has been working out nicely because I love to be able to get their perspective from how things are working around the country, right? Because sometimes we do things differently here in Massachusetts than they do in other parts of the world. So we do have some people that are listening in, and if they are listening, perhaps they could invite some others to join us as well, and we can get the conversation rolling. So where do you want to start, Carl?
I don't know. You want to start with some documents, or you want to go from a buyer's perspective? Things that you need to...
Yeah, we can go from a buyer's perspective.
Okay, why are you asking me if you want to do if you don't want to do it?
I was just hoping you had some ideas for me. I haven't read the agenda. Sorry, Julia. She does such a great job on these two. So we can talk about some of the documents. I mean, she really went in deep here, like with the master deed, the declaration of trust, and all of these different things, the condo budget. I will get into that a little bit afterwards. It's more about putting in an offer on that. One of the things I'd like to talk about is the association fee, how maybe I can start there.
Okay.
So a lot of times with, the reason why people, and again, this is a really good question for our listeners. If anybody out there has a condo, is thinking about a condo, that whole condo lifestyle, simplified living, 781-837-4900. Feel free to give us a call and, give us your insight. And Megan, are you in a condo, in an association?
Good morning, Sharon. I am.
You are? All right, good. So you're going to be a good sidekick for this. So how long have you been in your townhouse condo?
I have been in my townhouse. It's funny how we use that term condo as an umbrella. Been in my townhouse about 10 years. 10 years.
10 years. And for those who didn't remember, Megan, she is my friend from Clubhouse, Megan Gardner. And Megan, why don't you just give a little intro for people who may have not been listening last year, just in case there is somebody who's thinking about moving to your area.
Great. Good morning. This is Megan Gardner coming to you from Long Island, New York. I'm situated on the south shore of Long Island. If you picture Long Island, New York City is all the way to the west, and Montauk is all the way to the east, and I'm smack dab in the middle. It is a great place to be sandwiched. I'd love to help you if you are moving to or from Long Island or have any friends or relatives. I am here to serve you.
That's awesome.
How was that, Sharon?
Yeah, that was perfect. And and my listeners know that I do not bring people onto my show unless I have confidence in them as well. And, I am, referring you to Megan because I do think that she is the best of the best, and she is in that area. So if you ever want to reach out to Megan, feel free to give me a call, and I can make sure that I get you over to her. So my phone number is 781-294-4848. Megan, give your number as well.
I'm 631-255-3878, and thank you so much, Sharon.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. So, Megan, you'll be good, to sort of have the pros and the cons, perhaps, of living in a condo, and maybe we'll start with that, and then the second half, we'll get into more of the meat of things. So, Megan, if I was to ask you the biggest pro about living in a condo or townhouse, what would that be for you?
For me, and for a lot of the clients that I serve, I think one of the largest pros is what the amenities offer and what the condo development takes care of, like snow removal, garbage, etc.
Yep. So more of that simplified living. So with your condo, and here's the other thing too for our listeners, if you are considering, doing this type of lifestyle, there are definitely questions that you want to ask because every association is different. So at my new development, we will be doing snow removal. So of course we'll be doing the road, and then we will be doing the driveways, and then we will be doing the pathways, and then we will be doing the stairs up to your porch. So those are really good questions to ask. So if you are thinking about this, my suggestion is get a pen, get a paper, and take good notes because not all condo associations will do that. Our condo development, I wish Mary was listening as well. So our condo we have a mixed sort of single family and townhouse property in West Bridgewater. There's 92 units there, with a mixture, and some of the townhouses in phase 1 and phase 2. Actually, Kristen, can you talk to this? Kristen. I have Kristen Howlett, who is a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and she is our liaison that helps us out down at Cochise Estates. Kristen, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the aspect there and what is included for, like snow removal and landscaping and things?
As far as, there are 3 different ones depending on the phase. Mm-hmm. So phase 1, and it's different between single family and the condos.
Yep.
And Mary really is the expert on this one because I believe they're still working out the kinks of phase 3.
Yes.
But the association fee covers the community. There's 2 different ones. There's an HOA fee and a community fee. Mm-hmm. And the HOA fee covers, if it's the duplexes, the master insurance, the plowing of the main roads, and landscaping is not included.
Exactly. So that's one of the differences in that development. So I know that we are thinking about changing things up. I think they are changing things up in phase 3 because that phase 3 area is definitely all like townhouses. It's not like the single families are sort of mingled in a little bit. And that is the difference where, with the one that I have with them, it's Stonebridge Homes, by the way, the one that I have with them in Hanson, the snow removal is included to do the driveway, the pathways, and up your stairs. Over at Cochise Estates, it is not. And that's, that was a good mixture as well because there are some people who want to be in, they want the ease of condo living for certain aspects, but they do still enjoy being out in the yard. So they'll do their own landscaping. They can have, there are obviously restrictions of different things that you can and cannot do, but you are able to still get your hands in the dirt if you want to. Mm-hmm. So that is one of the top questions that I think that I would ask if you are thinking about purchasing a condo. So let me ask Kristen. Now, Kristen, I'm going to jump to you and ask you a question as well. Is what are you finding when you're doing the open houses over there? Like, what is the top question people are asking you when in regard to the townhouses? Because that's today's topic.
As far as fees,
it just as anything. I'm interested in a townhouse. What are some of the top questions people are asking you?
That's a trick question because there's 2 different. There are the duplexes and I guess number one, the most common question is more septic because over there they share septic. Mm-hmm. So the duplexes, there's a shared septic system, and then I think that's the difference going into phase 3 is that the entire phase 3 will share a septic system. Yeah. So I think that's where the fee going up a little bit because they'll maintain the system. Mm-hmm. But that is pretty much to me, the biggest question.
Yeah. That's actually a good answer. And I did really catch you off guard because that is one of the questions that the people yesterday had because they're coming in from the city, so they're not familiar with septic systems, so they don't fully understand everything and how those work. So that was good.
And a lot of people are concerned with what the rules are, what they can and can't do, within the community. Some people, I'm a rule follower, so I like rules. Mm-hmm. I like that, everybody has to do certain things to maintain their property and make it look nice. Some people don't like rules, so for them that might not be
They shouldn't buy a condo. That's right? If you don't like rules, right?
It's funny though. I said in the chat I have a showing this morning at 10 a.m. But something that I was thinking about last night and you might be able to answer this. In Massachusetts, is there some sort of in response to getting condo docs, it does seem like it gets more and more difficult to get them. Mm-hmm. And I know in some states, just from being on Facebook, in some states it's the process is different.
Yeah.
We can request them. Can we request them at offer, when do we get them? Sometimes it's really difficult to find out who. Sometimes the listing agent should supply them. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to pay for them.
Yeah, that part I don't fully understand. So that will be interesting to ask. We only have a couple people that are on up here in Clubhouse. But Megan, I'll just say first, for Massachusetts, I would say every time I have had a condo as a listing or a townhouse, I have always done my due diligence as the agent, the listing agent, and got a copy of those condo docs. And there are differences between self-managed and management companies. And I think that the management companies are the ones that make it a little more difficult to get the documents. You usually have to go through like the resident portal. There's usually a fee, and it's usually like, I want to say it's like $150 or $200, right? Yeah, to get a copy of the condo docs. I do believe if you are putting your condo on the market, that should be the responsibility of the seller. It shouldn't be the responsibility 100%. Of the buyer. Yeah. And then this is what I figured what would happen if they make it the responsibility of the buyer. The listing agent, once they know one buyer has it, they're just going to ask that agent for a copy of them. And I would say, no, like I paid for them, so I'm not going to make your job easier for everybody else. So, Megan, how do they do it in New York? And if people can't tell, like, we don't have to keep on saying where Megan is, because you can hear it in her voice, especially when she says Long Island.
I'm Megan Gardner from Long Island.
Yeah.
Similar here. If there's a management company, yes, you have to go through the management company to get documents. If there's an HOA board, then you go directly to them. But that being said, that's part of our job here on Long Island as a listing agent. When I list a condo or a co-op, before that listing goes on, I have all the information ahead of time in terms of an application packet or the contact person. I make sure that I have that all set and ready to go to make the transaction as seamless as possible. Mm-hmm. Definitely management companies, it takes a little bit longer. But as long as you can explain that to buyers who are looking, if their offer is accepted and they're moving forward, right, then it's just all about managing expectations and knowing what to expect. And then you can kind of guide everybody through to the closing. But very similar here. And again, one of the important reasons why you should always work through an agent, whether you're buying or selling.
Exactly. That's a very good point. And Kristen, so are they asking you, so the property that you're showing today as a buyer's agent, they're requiring you to get it?
I've sold in there before, so I'm familiar with it, but I just thought it was a very interesting topic because, if you're putting an offer in, that's a very vital portion of your offer and things that you should be privy to. And I know that I had a townhouse a couple of years ago that I helped a buyer in, and it was in Bellingham. They would not, the management company would not do the Title V until we got a
commitment?
I don't know, maybe commitment. I can't remember if it was purchase and sale sign or commitment. It was winter time. It was a fiasco.
Because they didn't want to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. They didn't want to pay for it.
But they're good for 2 years. I mean, right?
It was super complicated, and really it came down to just timing. But those are all things as the buyer's agent, when you flip hats, and you want to represent your buyer, you want to make sure that everything is the way that it should be.
One of our agents, Michelle Fay, she's a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and she just put a new listing on, right? And where is that new listing?
It is 55 Plymouth Street, Unit B8 in Whitman.
Yep, she has an open house there today, right?
Yep, today and tomorrow, 11 to 1.
11 to 1 today and tomorrow. And she had come to me, and it's a newer development, and I do want to talk about that when we get a moment too, talking about, the condo fees. I will get into that very in depth, but she was the buyer's agent when this property was purchased 3 years ago, and she was having a hard time because there is a management company, and they do have a fee, to go, to get the condo docs. And she said, well, I'll just use the ones that I had when they, from 3 years ago. And I said, I do not suggest that.
No.
The reason why you don't want to do that is because things could have changed. So they could have had amendments to the initial condo docs. So you definitely want to make sure that no changes were made, especially as a buyer's agent. I said, and as a listing agent, you don't want to take an older document, and even though 3 years for a new development, probably nothing has changed for the most part, but I would never take that chance.
Well, I maybe in this case, but think about how many developments are managed by the developer in the beginning, and then it gets handed over to everybody who live. Like if they don't have a management company, then it's the association. It's the people who live in this. So I think that if that had happened, then certainly things probably have changed. Maybe condo fees have gone up and stuff like that. So.
And it was a condo for this instance too. I know that it was self-managed, and then it did go. They just switched over to a management company. I personally think a management company is better. There's no emotions involved with that. When you have self-managed, you get a lot of different personalities on your board and different viewpoints. So, and then not everybody has the time to go to all of the meetings to have their voice heard. So I think a management company is the way to go when it comes to that. That's my personal, and I'd say professional opinion too, because they treat it like a business, right? So, so I think
I'm going to interrupt for 1 sec. I always try to contact whoever it is. Like I just had one in New Bedford, and it was self-managed. I ended up having a great relationship with one of the women that were on the board, and she was more than helpful with anything I needed to try to find. But most times they're recorded with Registry of Deeds too. So to Megan's point, if you have a great agent who's going to do the work for you and kind of, whether it's sitting on the couch at 7:00 at night and trying to gather as much information. But one of the little tidbits that I got last night, because I was researching this, was to add in contingent upon satisfactory review by attorney of all the condo docs, and then list them out. And those documents are provided by and at the sole cost of the seller.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that's good.
Did ChatGPT help you with that? That was really good.
No. Whoever it was that was in this, it was an anonymous post in one of the real estate posts. But I copy and pasted it because that's a good, we do that in a lot of condo offers. But it's funny when you're on the flip side and you see agents that submit offers that don't put that in.
It is really interesting when people don't put that in. Actually,
it's got to get put in by the attorney.
Yeah. Well, but if it isn't part of the offer, I think that...
No, but I'm saying, they're going to, if they don't put it in the offer, the attorney's going to be like, yeah, we need to see all these type of thing.
Yeah, but if it isn't, and this is where the important part is, though, if it isn't put in the offer, it's not mandatory to make it part of the purchase and sales agreement. So,
I know. But what I'm saying is the attorney is going to realize it, and he or she is going to want to put it in.
She's going to want to. Yeah. And then after the fact, it might be a little difficult. So that's why you should put it in. Kristen, do me a favor. When you, after the show or sometime today, can you throw that into our inter-office? So everybody has that language. So if anybody in our office is doing any of that, that would be great. I'm wondering too, if we have any attorneys that are listening. I just don't have my phone nearby to text any of the attorneys that I know. And you brought up a really good point, Kristen, that the condo docs, master deed, all of that is recorded at the Registry of Deeds. I'm curious if I know amendments to it. If they're going to make direct changes to the condo docs, then if they're going to change the condo docs, I know that those have to be recorded again. But I'm wondering if they make small adjustments and make it like an amendment, if those have to be. I'm sort of talking out loud right now. So
I think they do.
Yeah, I think so. I would think so. Yeah. But if we have any of our attorneys listening in, that would be one of our questions that we have. So feel free to call us at the studio, 781-837-4900. All right, so we were talking about the pros and the cons, and Megan, you gave us what you think is one of the positives of living in a townhouse condo development. I'm curious, from somebody who lives in a condo development, what do you feel a negative is, if any? Oh, is she on the phone?
So I can hop in there. It's Megan Gardner from Long Island. Mm-hmm. The one negative that I hear people bring up, which I think the positives far outweigh, that being said, is, and I think someone mentioned earlier, the rules.
Yep.
The rules about what you can and can't do with your landscaping or what you can and can't do with your fencing. Some people have different ideas of what they want to do, and sometimes it's not allowed by the HOA or the management, and it's disappointing and it's frustrating and totally understandable. So that can be difficult for some people, especially if they're coming from, let's say, a single family home where they had free reign over their yard and did what they wanted. It's a big change.
It is a big change. And especially when it comes to like gardening and things like that, I think that people go in and they think, oh, well, I'm just going to put this on my porch, or I'm going to put this I'm going to plant this in my backyard. Well, you can't. So, and then like the common areas, oh, if it's out my backyard, then I should be able to put like a table and chairs and things like that. But you can't, because it's called, the common area. I would say that that's probably the bigger item that I'd see. I actually know somebody who lives in a condo development too, and I know when she would look out her window, she would see somebody put like pink flamingos in there, those plastic pink flamingos. Now, hey, they're appealing to some. I mean, I would more picture those down in Florida, I guess. But anyways, this person put pink flamingos in there, and she ended up calling the association and saying, hey, listen, we are not allowed to put anything out there, So they did make the people move those pink flamingos. But and I think it is important, talking about, your condo docs and what you can and cannot do. Really read, because there's pet policies that are part of it as well. So if you want a dog, I know people are finding a way around that right now with the emotional support dogs, because you can't really say no to that. The other thing too is like what you can and cannot do on your own porch or in your windows. Even from our standpoint, let's just even talk about real estate. A lot of the developments don't allow you to put a sign up in front of the condo development. Sometimes you can get away with maybe putting just the sign, the panel itself in the window. Sometimes they don't allow that either. And then I know that there has been a lot of controversy as of late in several of the developments around here regarding flags and putting up flags. So like political flags, like they weren't people, and we'll probably see this coming up soon, right? People are going to have a donkey, and some people are going to have an elephant, you know what I mean? And a lot of these developments do not allow anything like that. You can't even put, sometimes people have those decorative flags that will have, like, you change them with the seasons. Yeah. So one is like for Halloween, one is like, you can't even put those up. Yeah. So if that's something that's important to you.
Only white Christmas lights, stuff like that. Also, looking in, if you have a commercial vehicle, so a lot of the times you can't park them.
That was a good one, Mel.
Thank you. Can't park them, in the driveway. They have to be able to go into the garage if you're, fortunate enough to have a garage. But some of those big vehicles don't fit in the garages, you need an oversized garage. Boats, RVs, stuff like that. A lot of the times you can't park them anywhere.
And just like storage items, you know, things, you just...
Sheds.
Even
sheds.
Yeah, you can't have your own shed.
Yeah. Sharon, one other item to be aware of, which could be a con, is what are the rules regarding the amenities? Let's say there's a pool, right? Yeah. Can you bring glass bottles to the pool? What are the rules for children under 12? Is there no jumping off the side? That kind of information is important.
And that's a really good point too, because when you're looking at condo association fees, that's one of the things you look at. So some people will have a lot of amenities in their facilities, and that's generally when you see your fees are higher.
Yeah,
because
you need the insurance.
And the pool and the maintenance and everything that goes along with it. And too, I'm sure, like the gyms that are in there, into the, I bet you that there are rules like nobody under the age of, whatever, unsupervised or anything like that.
Under the age of 35.
Nobody over the age of 50 should be in there. So, to our WATD listeners, you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara, the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate. I am also a full-time real estate agent here at our office. I am here alongside Melissa Wallace, who is our Director of Operations, and she does all things. You're like the agent liaison here, right?
Yeah. Well, I have so many different titles that we're just like, well, which one do we settle on today?
Yeah, which one is today? That's why I put our everything on your door.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I think someone had brought up like one of my titles at one point, and I was like, am I really called that?
Yeah.
The other day, I was like, is that really my title? And I went on the website, and yeah, it was. That's what it says online. But yeah, no, that's me. I don't know what I was going to go with that.
But if you have any questions about this topic, we are talking about condos today, townhouses, the pros and cons of them, things that you should be considering if you are thinking about buying or selling a condo. Feel free to give us a call. But if you have something else that you want to ask us, feel free, 781-837-4900. Tim is in the studio at WATD in Marshfield, and he will get you over to our home studio here in our office right here on the South Shore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think during my purchasing journey, at first I didn't want to look at condos. I really wanted a single family home. And then when there wasn't a ton of single families on the market, I decided to start looking at a couple condos. And I did consider putting in an offer on one of them. But after speaking with Jasmine, it just, with the interest rate where it was and the condo fee, so they had an assessment, and their condo fee was higher, and even higher than some of the other condos in the development, because they chose to finance the assessment instead of paying it up front. And it just brought me way over where I was comfortable spending. So, I mean, that's definitely a consideration when, it's not just, I can afford, the down payment, and I can afford, this. But it's like, again, and I was saying this all throughout my journey, is what happens after the closing day. You got to be able to afford everything after that. And there are things that you don't think about, too. Like, as a buyer, like, oh, yeah, I have to, like, pay for electricity and pay for heat and pay for all these things afterwards, So it's not just the association fee or anything like that. It's the whole package deal.
Yeah.
And it would have been great because, honestly, I'm not home very often. So it would have been great to not have to worry about, the plowing and all that stuff. But,
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
It didn't work out for you.
Didn't work out.
Kristen, I saw you unmiked. Did you have something that you wanted to?
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure to see if you had anything that you wanted to.
No, but it's funny that Melissa's talking about that, because I was a big pusher of the condo lifestyle for Melissa.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. I
think
did.
Mark
I
was
thought,
too.
Yeah, I did think, I think you landed right where you were supposed to, but I do think that the ease of a condo, the not having to, take care of a roof or a siding or a window, things like that, I thought was very appealing.
Yeah.
But in the end, like you said, you're right. But I do think the whole idea of this is, we need to take a step back, and if condo townhouse living is not for your buyer, it is up to the agent to give that information and be there from the beginning, because why go through the trouble of putting in an offer if ultimately you can't park your, only work car in the driveway?
Yeah.
If it's not going to work, why even bother? So doing the legwork in the beginning and having the conversations is really important. And on the flip side, you could have somebody that was thinking single family was their only way, but, a condo or a townhouse is a perfect fit for them. So
that's what I also think, too. I think that what we bring as buyers agents to the table as well for our clients is that we're not just looking, we have a little bit of information about a lot of the different developments, right? And we're pretty familiar, like especially in our office, where we share so much with each other, just what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And like recently I had sold, something at the Meadows in Pembroke, and everybody loves the Meadows, but one of their policies is a very strict no pet policy. Well, that sort of wiped out a lot of people.
No dogs.
Yeah, no dogs. Yeah, no dogs. They can have one cat or something like that, but no dogs. And it's really strict. They really enforce it. But that was never what the policy was when that development was built. And because I've worked for that developer as well, so I know that isn't the policy. Usually the policy will be like, they might put like
a breed restriction or a weight restriction on it.
Exactly, yeah. So one of the actually the same builder, actually, I did list this property for him, and that development, they were trying to put a weight restriction on it, and it was 20 pounds. So I was doing an open house over there last year, and the president of their self-managed, and the president came in and we were talking about it, and I was like, I know that, this, you haven't, initiated it yet, and you don't have all the condo docs and everything in order yet, so we really don't have to abide by it, but 20 pounds? I mean, I have the runt of the litter French bulldog that weighs 19 pounds. If you give her a good breakfast, she's over 20, right?
Do you think anyone's coming around and saying, I got to weigh your dog?
That's what I want to know. And then I want to know if it is over that, like, what do you want me to kill it? Like, what do you want me to do with it?
What do you want me to do with it?
Yeah. Like, where do I go?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But still, you have to be aware. And the conversation I did have with the president was, well, why did you feel the need to initiate this? Well, because there was one person that had a dog that was larger, that, was never on leash. And there's another condo development next door, and that dog jumped up on somebody else in that development, scared the woman. She was older, and it scared her because it jumped on her and everything and scratched her car or something. And I was like, well, that isn't the dog, that's the owner. Mm-hmm. So you have to put those, and again, what are you going to do? Fine them? How are they going to pay? I don't know. Maybe you do put a fine on it, and then when they go to sell it, they can't sell it until it's paid off, part of the 6D. So, yeah, that's something we should talk about as well, is the 6D. So a couple other things that I want to get off of my head right now is we just talked about the pet policy, so that's something you definitely want to be looking at. Melissa, you did a great job on talking about some of the things about the parking, but you want to know, is my parking space, how many spaces do I get? Is there parking allowed on the street? Is there guest parking? Those are all good questions to ask. Is my space assigned or deeded? So if it's assigned, thank you.
It can change, right?
Yeah, it can change. Yeah. But a lot of times they don't. It just says that it's not deeded to you. So if at some point the association all got together and said, let's mix things up around here a little bit. So if I was part of the association, I'd be mixing up everybody's parking spaces every so often.
Yeah, that's why I'm not living in a condo. So I have someone like you who comes home and says, you know what, I think I don't like the two red cars next to each other, so let's mix this up a little bit. We'll do every other.
Yeah. Well, I feel as if I need a little bit of a walk, so I'm going to park over there from now on.
New year, more walks.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
I'll park.
But for the most part, if they're assigned, they are not changed. But there is a difference between assigned and deeded. And again, going back to what, both Megan and Kristen are saying, the importance of having a buyer's agent is, I'm sure that the general person or general public isn't aware of these types of questions to ask. And then the other big one is rentals. Are you allowed to rent out your unit if you decide that you don't want to live there anymore? So that's a really good question, because maybe you do purchase a condo townhouse, and then 5 years, 10 years down the road, you decide that you want a single family, but you'd like to use your your condo or your townhouse as a rental property. Can you rent it? And that is really important too when you're looking at the condo docs. Make sure that that's something that you are considering, even if you're not considering it, because one thing, we did have another condo last year in an older development, and I was so happy for my clients. I was like, I feel as if you're getting out at the right time, because their condo doesn't have any stipulation on the percentage of units that can be rented, which is really, really dangerous, because, and if, I don't think that Jasmine is on today. She's probably away, but, or Mark, he's not with us either, not my Mark, but Mark from Clubhouse. They're loan officers, because certain loans you can't get if it's a certain percentage over, that is rented. Yeah. So this one development, it was dangerously close to that. I mean, I think it was already there, because the offer we got was cash, so we didn't have to worry about it. Ours was an investor. She was actually renting back to her daughter, but they're getting to the point where the only people who are going to be able to purchase in there are going to be people with cash. Mm-hmm. So you really have to look into that and what that percentage is. Okay. I'll give the phone number one more time, 781-837-4900. Either we're doing a really good job explaining all this, or people are just tired and sleepy and there's
people are definitely watching us, at least on Facebook. But something about that is a lot of the condo developments around here are older.
Yeah.
So they are in need of, in the next couple of years, possibly having a new roof, having, siding, windows, doors. And that was part of the issue that I had with the condo that I was going to purchase or put in an offer. It was because everything was new. So it had new windows, it had new siding, it had new roof, it had a new door, those types of things were taken care of. But the association fee and the assessment fee reflected that.
Yep.
And that's what sort of sent me over. And everyone was saying, like, eventually you'd have to do a roof and, stuff like that. It's like, okay, but you could not afford it, which is why it was financed.
Yeah,
everybody had an option. Oh, do you want to finance? It was like $50,000 or $60,000 per unit.
Wow!
So you could either finance it or you can pay it all up front. And these people decided to finance it, which I don't blame them. But they couldn't afford to live there anymore.
Yeah,
so you really do have to have somebody come in who can afford to take that over as well.
And that is a really good point. And just to all of our people on Clubhouse, if you have anything that you want to chime in, it's just a little bit difficult. It's a little bit different when we're live in the studio because I can't focus on that as much as I am on everything else. So just feel free to interrupt me if you have something that you want to input. I do want to talk about this, about the older condos versus the newer condos. A couple of things. One is, looking at that association fee, and you make such a good point, is that special assessment. If there are any special assessments, whether you're the listing agent, if you are the listing agent, that's one of the questions you should be asking. Any of the documents that the homeowner has received from the association, you certainly want to be able to have those and make sure that you can disclose them to a buyer's agent. And as a buyer's agent, it's something that you should certainly be asking. Are there any special assessments? Are there any that have been discussed? Is there anything in the pipeline that's coming up? In order to find this out, one of the things that we do when we're a buyer's agent is we always ask for 6 months of the condo association minutes of the meeting, because those minutes are recorded and you can get a copy of those. I think that those are important for several reasons. One of them is because you want to say, hey, 3 months ago, they were discussing that there is going to be a special assessment. Now, there might be the person who's selling, by the way, maybe doesn't go to the meetings, maybe doesn't read the minutes when they come in. That's why, as the buyer's agent, you should always be asking. I ask for 6 months. That way there you can go through and, sometimes they'll say, building 2 is in need of new porches.
Well, it's interesting because I was showing my cousin a condo maybe like 2 years ago now. And we were going to an open house, and there was signs everywhere like, oh, use the back door, use the back door, use the back door, like going to the condo, and we'll buzz you in and stuff. And I was like, I wonder what's going on at the front door. So we went to the front door, and there was a notice from the management company like asking like, oh, if your car has been broken into lately, please contact. And like they were having a problem there with somebody going around breaking into
I personally would have filed a grievance against that listing agent.
Really?
Yeah, if I had known about that. Yeah, because I mean they're purposefully if the buyer was to get that information, would it change the buyer's mind whether to proceed forward or not with that condo? The answer, in my opinion, is yes. So that should have been disclosed. But that, again, those things come up in the minutes. Somebody, and it did actually. I remember one time I was helping one of my clients, their young daughter, was buying her first property, and it was a condo, and she sort of fell in love with it. And, it's that first, the first condo I'm getting out of my parents' house, blah, blah, blah. But we got the minutes, and as I was reading through the minutes, it said that one of the renters that was renting in this development was harassing the females in the parking lot. So I said, I just don't think that you should. Well, let's find you something that's a little bit safer. So definitely look for those. And too, if you are I had a condo a few years ago And I remember we closed on the hottest day. Oh, my God. It was like literally sitting on the equator that day. And I think Mary and I had like 6 closings in one day. It was like frantic. So we like had to divide and conquer. Lo and behold, she shows up at the condo and the main water line broke. Oh my gosh, it was a fiasco. But that wasn't even the point of my story. The point of my story was about 3 weeks before we closed, they did get a letter from the association saying that there was going to be a special assessment. So our seller thankfully was honest and gave us that information, and the seller and the buyer decided to split that cost. So that does come up. In regard, I have 4 minutes left, and this is really important. And I talk about this at my new development. When you are looking at new construction, keep in mind that the condo association fees always tend to be on the lower side. And the reason for that is because the developer, the builder, is in there. They're generally the ones, their crews or the people that they're working with, who they have great pricing with, they're the ones that are plowing. They're the ones that are doing the landscaping. They're the ones that are doing all of it. It's new construction. You don't have to worry about the roof going. You don't have to worry about the porches, right? So the condo fees can be really, really low. Well, what ends up happening is when you then get into the development, and this happened to me with one of our clients last year, one of the developments that was 7 years old, they gave us the wrong information for the budget when we requested that when he purchased. And then they had a meeting a month after he was in there, gave him the updated numbers. And this condo association only had, I think, $15,000 in their reserves after 7 years. That is not a lot of money if anything goes wrong. Yeah. So that's where the problem lies. They have very, very low condo fees because when the builder had it, that's all it took to maintain it. Now the problem is you have, let's just say 20, 25 people that are living there. Their mortgage is based on what that condo fee is. So in order to go up on that condo fee, there are going to be a lot of people that will no longer be able to afford to live there. Yeah. Right? So my condo development that I have in Hanson, Cushing Trails, our condo fees are appropriate for where they will stay and be maintained. So one of the things that we're doing is we're putting money aside for a management company if the owners choose when we're done. If they choose to do a management company, which would be our suggestion or my suggestion, we'll have a reserve for that. We'll have a reserve for, the exterior. We'll have the master insurance will be covered. There's lots of things, anyways, that it will cover, and the irrigation in the front yard, the snow plowing, the landscaping, but at least there's a reserve already there. So I can tell Melissa has the open houses in her hand, so she's going to cut me off. So go ahead.
Yes, we do have quite a few open houses this weekend. So Michelle Fay, like we said earlier, 55 Plymouth Street, Unit B8 in Whitman. She is going to be there from 11 to 1. That is a brand new listing. Team Flynn has a brand new listing as well. 168 Harvest Street, Unit 63. See, two condos right here in Taunton. I know. In Taunton, they're going to be there today from 1 to 3. That is on the market for $312,900. The Grady team is going to be at 719 Ferry Street in Marshfield today from 11 to 12:30. That is new construction as well. So that's on the market for $1.2999. Sharon and Mary, of course, you are going to be at Cushing Trails and stuff. Donna and Nadine have a new listing. They're going to be there tomorrow at 30 Holmes Street in Halifax from 1 to 3. That is on for $685.
And if you want more information on all our open houses, of course, you can go to bostonconnect.com and find all that information. If you are thinking about buying or selling your home or your condo, please give us a call. You can reach me directly at 781-294-4848. Again, my name is Sharon McNamara. I am the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate and a full-time real estate agent with my team member, Mary Horton. We are part of the McNamara Horton Group. So thank you, ladies, and everybody who helped me on stage. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And Tim, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't